Hey there, folks. My name's Andrew Miller from Artistic ADD. This week we're going to be doing another 5 by 5 by 5. That's a 5-inch by 5-inch canvas filled with digital abstract in just about 5 minutes. And while you're watching me paint, I'm going to talk a little bit about the concepts demonstrated here. Now I'm going to be talking this week about kind of how we experience 3 dimensions on a 2-dimensional canvas, and how we kind of have to trick the eye into seeing 3 dimensions, because typically in our world, in the world we experience every day, we can have precise depth perception and this 3-dimensional field of vision because we have what is called binocular vision. That is, 2 eyes. So when we focus on something, things receding into the distance are much more, are blurry. You know what it's like. So we have this depth perception, this field of vision, and we can experience the 3-dimensionality of our world because we have 2 eyes. Now the canvas essentially only has 1 eye because it's 2-dimensional. It's a 2-dimensional plane, so it's a lot more difficult to experience 3-dimensionality on a 2-dimensional plane. So we have some ways that we can kind of trick the eye into seeing a 3-dimensional space on what is essentially what is a 2-dimensional plane. There are really there are 2 ways of doing this. I'm sure there are more, but there are 2 ways that work really well. You can either have all the elements of the painting receding back into darkness. That is, each element, as it goes back in space, it gets darker and darker and darker. And with that, you can kind of give the illusion of depth because your brain automatically sees things that are getting darker as going back in space. Or you can have the elements get lighter and lighter and lighter, and have the darkest elements be the extreme foreground and the lighter elements receding back in space. Either way will work. Either way will kind of trick your brain into seeing objects receding back in space. And by the way, you can really mess with the mind by doing this, because if you don't do it right, if you have the foreground and background jumping, dark light, as you go back, the brain starts trying to jump the darker elements up front and push the lighter elements back, so you can get some really weird, funky visual movement with this kind of technique too. So that's probably worth messing with and seeing what. So with this painting, as you can see, I put some darker spheres in the background, and they definitely are getting pushed back in space, while the lighter spheres are pulling out into the foreground because we did the lighter, because they are lighter. Also, the green ribbon that's going through here, as you can see, it gets darker as it goes back in space, and also smaller. And then as it comes up and comes up closer to our vision, it gets lighter and lighter, and eventually almost turns white as it comes close to our vision. This gives our brain something to process as far as space goes, so it looks much more 3-dimensional. It's not perfect, but that's kind of how you can fool the eye into seeing 3 dimensions on a 2-dimensional plane. Here's another quick example of that. Here's a piece I call Money that I think demonstrates the techniques pretty well. You can see the design elements going back in space and getting darker, then coming up in your face and getting lighter. So that's a pretty good example. If you want to learn a little more about painting, abstract art, and art in general, go to artisticadd.com. I've got a cool free article there that you can download. Check it out. Thanks for watching.